Discretion is expressed for the following program. If you are easily triggered or offended, please exercise caution while viewing this program, because the hosts really don't care. Warning, this show is not for children, and not for coworkers either.
All right, this is such a good deal. Hostage rescues, now only $29.99. We got a Jihadi special financing available. Thank you, everybody, for joining the show. Welcome back to rumble.com/.
It's Crazy Joe, and he's slashing prices all over the place at Crazy Joe's.
Why is my name on there? I didn't do that.
It's Friday the 13th. You're just
I didn't tell people that was my name now. I feel like I've been outed.
No, that's not your name. That's the name of the character, Jason.
Here's my Halloween mask of Jason. Terrible. Good morning, everybody. Hey, guys. How are you doing?
Morning.
All right. Well, I just doxed myself, I guess. Hey, how are you guys doing? You have a good day? It's been pretty great.
So far, so good.
Any good news this week? Any bad news? Anything? Just kind of... Yeah.
Slow week.
Slow week. Happy Friday the 13th to everybody. This is going to be possibly the most gruesome and horrible Friday the 13th that's maybe ever existed. It's terrible.
Probably.
We got a lot to talk about today.
I'm seeing already stuff.
Yeah. No, scores up. Bad guys, at least one, maybe two. Saw a couple. It's not good. We're going to have to talk about the war a little bit. We got to talk about our president. We got to talk about a couple of representatives. We have a couple of representatives that are just outstanding. One is amazing, and one is my representative, Crenshaw. And we got some other stuff in the news. I think we have some fun stuff lined up a little bit later. So if you guys can just hang in there past the horrible awfulness, hang in there. There's definitely jokes at the end, for sure. And they're really good.
Maybe. Is there one?
Okay. Yep. I'm JJ. This is rumble.com/JJ. Deacon and I meet Monday through Friday, 8 o'clock. Talk news, politics, culture, pop culture, stuff like that. And we are your two dads. But on Fridays, we have our buddy Dave join us. And we have a little liars table. Yeah, we talk a bunch of bullsh-ish. So if you want to
like Dave, Jason, and Andy, hi, nice to meet you all.
Hi.
Like we have unusual names. Try to find us.
Dude, I'm pretty easy to find.
Me too. I am too. I'm pretty easy to find.
Okay. Dee's going to tell us about some music, and then we're going to talk all the fun news in the world. Yay.
All right. I'm not even going to change the thing because, I'm just going to leave it.
Yeah, it kind of puts it across your hands there.
It kind of does it. All right. So,
if somebody get our art director that straightened out.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. If you go to our Discord server, which is in the description.
Other side.
Where somewhere.
Here.
I don't know where it's at. But go to our Discord server. If I put it, there, thank you. And you can see our playlist this week or this month. We are doing scary songs, and we're giving you bonus songs from the Sinister Minister. Which way am I pointing to you? This way? This way. This way to him. And so today's scary song. This is the one that I've been picking a couple, but I've saved a couple for the end. You have a couple that I've saved for the end. But this one is a scary song that I like to pull out on my little country radio station every single year. It's one of my favorite country songs, classic country scary songs to play. It is Ray Stevens' "Sitting Up with the Dead." It is a hilarious song about, back in the day, they really didn't have a lot of mortuaries everywhere. So if somebody died in your family, they would set it up in like your living room, and people would come into your house and whatnot. And it's a story about, that's really what they did in the olden days. And it's his story about his uncle passing away and them having a funeral. in the parlor of their house, and something happens. So it is a very humorous song. I love to play it every Halloween. Your Sinister Minister werewolf song extra bonus of the day is a good one. This is a good one, whether you want it to be a werewolf song or not.
Oh, it is.
But Africa by Toto, I believe, is a werewolf.
Oh.
Yes, we have gone through this before, but I have this. I had it ready. So gonna take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. Why is the singer not with me now?
Werewolf.
All right. In Toto's Africa, when the speaker's in Africa why is the speaker in Africa in the first place? Answer, he's hoping to find some long forgotten words or ancient melodies. He's a student of the occult. Why has the singer of Toto's Africa gone to Africa, learning his love, leaving his love in order to hunt some obscure folklore? He tells you, I seek to cure what's deep inside, frightened of this thing I've become. Wild dogs cry out in the night as they grow restless, longing for some solitary company. Those aren't dogs, buddy. Why does he bless the rains in Africa? Because the cloud cover blocks the moon. Toto's Africa is about a lovesick werewolf in Africa seeking out ancient lore to find a cure for his unfortunate condition. I hear the drums echoing tonight. The cheers only whisper of some quiet conversation.
How come we can't have this? Man, we need this. We need to have this on the. We need to play that song. I think we should just play it.
Go to it's right there on our page, and I've listed the little dudes. It was one dude's theory on Twitter, but it's a good theory, and I buy it. I'm now convinced that song is about a lovesick werewolf. Period.
That's why I added it to the list.
It is. So
there
check it out.
There needs to really be more werewolf songs. Okay. It does. All right, guys, let's get into this. You know, as you know, today is Friday, the Jihad-teenth.
Jihad-teenth.
Yeah, Jihad-teenth. Okay, so
not trying
our top
to make
story
light of the situation,
look,
but
what are you gonna do?
I know.
What are you gonna do?
So
I'm against it.
We live in smaller towns.
Yeah.
You don't.
Oh no, I'm really against it. I'm very, very against this.
Okay.
All right. So here's our top story, though. Joe Biden's regime is forcing Americans trapped in Israel to sign promissory notes to repay all of the travel costs if they decide to be rescued by the government.
You have got to be kidding me.
You must be joking. There's no way that's true, right?
Onion?
No. Oh man, I lost the. Where's my? I have a. Is it here? Where is it here? I got it right here. This is legit, no joke. Let me read the story and then I will show you the paperwork. In a time when Americans in Israel are relying on their government for support and protection, the U.S. State Department's Consular Affairs Crisis Management System has left many American citizens hanging in the wind, demanding them to sign promissory notes as a precondition for evacuating or assistance in evacuating from the war zone. There's an email here, but check this out. I have a tweet from Yitz Friedman, and he says, here's what the Biden administration is making American citizens sign if they want to be evacuated from Israel. They must promise to pay the State Department for the privilege of being rescued by their own government. I understand.
It's part of being an American citizen, isn't it?
I will be billed for the cost of my hour transportation no greater than the amount of fuel fare economy flight or comparable alternate transportation to the designated destinations. So we have a legit World War III instigating crisis, and the State Department is pinching pennies. We can send $200 billion or whatever, however much it's been to Ukraine. We can send billions in missiles and bombs and bullets, but you're gonna have to pay for that coach seat, lady.
Right now we don't have a budget, right? We're still in a continuing resolution.
I mean, right. So they just have whatever's in the coffers they can allocate.
Yeah.
In order to board the flight, you must sign a promissory note, which is a commitment to repay. If possible, please print it out in advance and complete the DS5528 in advance. Print it out on your own printer and bring it. We don't even have the paperwork.
Stop by Kinko's on the way in.
Yeah.
It's on the corner.
Yeah. So, guys, that's the Hey, Do Good, what's happening? Did you know that there's a German metal band called Helloween? Guys, did you know this?
Yes.
Do Good says that. Helloween. I did not know that. That seems like a Deke thing, and Deke missed it because he's on the air.
A catchy name.
All right. So that's horrible. But, is it reasonable? Guys, is it reasonable for evacuees to be billed for their evacuation? Just your first impressions.
No.
Okay. Okay, that's a boo on the Biden admin. Now,
geez, they only have one strike. That's not bad.
it's a boo today. Every day the score resets. Yeah,
this hour.
Now, so that's our president. That's State Department. They're the ones that have the full strength and power of the United States government. Some people that serve our country, though, guys, don't really find that acceptable, and they think that they can do more. One of those people is Corey Mills, Representative Corey Mills. Corey Mills is a Republican from Florida, and he serves in the House, I believe. And he has personally rescued 32 Americans from Israel amid the Hamas terrorist attack. That is more Americans than Hamas has killed, as far as I know. Hamas has killed 25. Corey Mills rescued 32 Americans from Israel, and he's in the photo with them. Corey Mills went to Israel, put 32 Americans on a bus, and got them out of Israel. Mills is a combat veteran. It's amazing. There's some pictures down here. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if my buddy's in that picture.
Oh, you might know somebody in there?
Yeah, I had a buddy who was going to Israel. I don't know if he made it or not.
Mills told the Floridian press that helping and showing solidarity with our Israeli brethren and helping Americans evacuate is something he felt compelled to do after the nation was attacked by the Hamas terrorists. So here is let's see if we can bigonate the photo of Corey Mills. This is Mills here in the green shirt here, and then this is a bunch of people. But then there's also a image of Mills in the bus with them. They drove across the border to Jordan. I mean, he's literally with them, getting them out of the country. This is uncalled for. He did not have to do this.
Yeah, Godspeed to him, man.
So, he's a representative of Florida. He is not obligated to go and risk his life to save Americans, but he did it. That's what leaders do.
That's what
our leader takes naps. So, and charges you for the privilege, I guess. So I just thought that was so amazing. That deserved to be called out. And I mean, when I saw that yesterday, I was like, that is amazing. Okay, guys. So all of the Friday the 13th jokes. Yeah. Well, did you guys see I don't know the guy's name. It's some dude in Hamas or Hezbollah or something like that called for global jihad.
Oh yeah.
And he said, do it on Friday the 13th. And you might be thinking, well, that sounds bad. I hope that doesn't happen in the countries where those people are. But that certainly wouldn't happen in a country where I am at. And before you start thinking that too much, I'm gonna remind you that illegal immigrants from the Middle East arrested at the U.S. border over the past 10 days. Okay? I don't know if there's a number on here. Since the 1st of October, Border Patrol agents have apprehended individuals from Afghanistan, Algeria, Bahrain, Bangladesh, Egypt, Indonesia, Iran, Iraq, Jordan, Kazakhstan, Kuwait, Lebanon, Libya, Malaysia, Morocco, North Korea. Oman, Pakistan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, Tajikistan. I'm sorry, Tajik, whatever. Tunisia, Turkey, Uzbekistan, and Yemen, and that's just in the last 10 days.
So my geometry is really bad. Where in relation to Mexico are these countries?
Geography.
They're probably real close to. That's a great question, Dave. And Dave, I waned to ask your kind of. Did you have any kind of expertise?
Dave, they are perpendicular with a 90-degree angle to what you.
This is a pro news show. We're not going to let a simple question like that go unfact checked.
I'm sorry.
Let's see. Sorry. Let's find.
I don't even think JJ even called the joke.
No, it's a callback.
Yeah, he's still focused. I'm sorry.
I'm
it's
sorry.
Good, it's good. You're good. You're
Thank
good.
You.
You're
good.
Right.
They're on the other side of the planet. They're not next to Mexico. Dave.
Oh,
they're not.
Yeah, they're not.
Yes.
They're not. Yeah, no. A lot of those places that I just listed are here. Uh-huh. But it turns out Mexico is let's see, Mexico.
Oh, Mexico.
There's Mexico. Yeah, you couldn't be farther away. They're crossing our border. No. Oops.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even show the screen. You guys didn't. Oh.
No, we're looking at your beard, dude, from the profile. It looks awesome from a profile.
Good support, guys.
Hey,
look at that. Look at that point.
Why did he take a day off? I don't care that it's Friday the 13th.
Look at that.
Got a job to do here. People in this office.
You've got about a 45-degree angle right there if we're talking about geography.
It's in my face. Yeah, thank you.
You still didn't catch the joke.
I don't get it. I don't know what you're talking about.
Minister was talking about geography a minute ago, and he said geometry, and it just went over your head. So I was making a geometry joke to geography.
Well, I said it last week too, but it wasn't a joke last week. It was just a misspeak.
You misspoke last week. You did it on purpose.
Yeah, this week I did it intentionally. But okay, it's okay. Let's see the map. I want to see the map. I need to visualize.
Well, we're moving past the map because you've already made triangulation jokes. 659 known suspected terrorists were captured in fiscal year 2023, which is the most in history. That's the ones we caught. In 659 known or suspected terrorists, they have a cool abbreviation called KSTs.
Good at it.
Yeah.
They got caught.
Right. Yeah. That's the minimum wagers. That's the entry level terrorists. If they haven't even finished their training, their employee handbook yet.
And if I was one of the tactics that I know that they use is, drug smugglers use this. I've seen in stuff before. If they want something important moved into the country, they will set up spots to basically rabbits is what I call them. When somebody flies by me on the interstate doing about 85, that's my rabbit. That rabbit is going to lure out the cops that are sitting out. I call them rabbits. Oh, that's the rabbit. He's going to find the cops, and they will set up rabbits. If they're moving something important into the country, I would set up 3 or 4 rabbits that are going to get caught, even if it is a large group of people, because that would make the attention focused on this large group of people, and you're not looking at David Copperfield moving the elephant in the background.
I see what you're saying, but that seems like your intelligence is based more or less what you can see on the ground. But like they ought to have barriers. True. They ought to know where the weak parts of the barriers are. They ought to have drones in the air just surveilling constantly. And it's not like you're just limited to what you can see. Because I've seen some of the stuff that Israel's been doing in nighttime operations. I mean, the cameras can see the heat from the engine that was running like 30 minutes ago. So like we have like the infrared, the night vision stuff. I mean, like they should have intelligence of where these people are crossing. Oh yeah, that's right. What was
Boebert.
Yeah, Boebert. They're using that on they need to stop using it on Boebert and her boobs and start using it on our border. Okay, so there's 659 KSTs were apprehended, people from over 170 different countries. So that's the people that were caught. there's a bunch more people that were not caught. I don't know what the estimate would be, but there's a bunch of people that were not caught. And the danger is like, okay, well, look, maybe like 95% of those people are fine. They're just, regular criminals and drug dealers.
But you're not going to set up a operation a couple of days, weeks, or months in advance. If it's going to be major scale, it's something that takes years. And so if we look at what has gotten across the border over the last several years, that number is in the millions. And that's, that's not able to be.
We have the last number that I looked, I think it was close to 7 million people since Biden took office. So in the last 3 years.
So I got a phone call from my little brother. I've got a little brother. He's 20 years younger than me. He called me the other day and he's like, hey, should I be concerned, freaked out? Is this the end of the world? Is there a terrorist attack going to happen? And all this. I get questions like that. And my honest response is we got nothing substantiated that I've heard or seen. Not that I have specific access to anything that anyone else doesn't have access to.
I heard that argument made on Twitter, like, oh, there's no chatter or intel that there's a thing happening.
There's always some chatter. There's always some intel that can be collected. But the facts are, we've had a lot of illegal immigrants come into the U.S. over the last several years. There was a call for a national day of rage, a day of jihad. Both those terms were used. Now I think only the word rage is being used, but both those terms were used.
Media is whitewashing it to they're reporting it as a day of action rather than a day of rage.
Specifically targeted against Zionists, which we can talk about later if you want, and Americans. So those are fun terms. So what I told my little brother is, everything's there for a terrorist attack. Does that mean there's going to be a terrorist attack? No, it doesn't. Because everything's always there for a terrorist attack. I mean, every single day there's the opportunity for attack.
Okay, so when you say terrorist attack, I think a lot of people, may think to like, oh, a 9/11 or a big incident, a bomb, a something like that. That does not look like what is being asked for right now. What is being asked for right now is grassroots, get your kitchen knife, go downtown and hurt some people. You don't need planning for that. You can have spontaneous, horrible violence. And that's what they're asking for.
And what is,
you don't need chatter for that.
What is this really doing for the other Muslims, that don't believe in that sect?
Right. It's making life a lot worse for them.
It's making life a lot worse because me and Alex were talking about this last night, and I was telling him, I was just kind of explaining what's going on in the world and what was supposed to be going on today. And I was like, look, dude, the Muslims and the Jewish people and the Christians, we all believe kind of the same crap. I don't know why we fight.
There's a lot of overlap.
Stuff, but when it all goes back to the brass,
Yeah.
And so it's making life a lot worse on these Muslims that do not believe in this whatsoever.
Right.
I'm definitely not casting aspersions or blame anybody. I don't personally know or hang out with any Muslims. Okay. I think one thing,
I don't either, but I've known some in the past.
Yeah. I think one thing that was a criticism back in the 2001 era, 2001, 2002, and you could probably make the same criticism now, is that those Muslims you're talking about that are being injured by this are not getting out there on media and saying, this is heinous, this is horrible, and they're not locking arms with the victims of the terror incident and saying that was wrong. Instead, they held their peace, or in the case of a lot of these major cities, there's Palestinian sympathizers having huge protests. So the message conveyed to the world at large is not that Muslims, some stand in opposition to what the Hamas is doing, but rather they're quietly endorsing it. And, that may not be how they feel. It really may not. But if they don't say that, nobody hears that. So, you know, so the message being delivered to the rest of us is that it's Israel versus all the Muslims, or Israel versus Hamas, aka Palestine, aka all the Muslims, and that there's a conflict that cannot be resolved in any other way except war, and that doesn't have to be that.
Out against it, if Muslims do speak out against it, they're silenced. Their story isn't heard because we want to focus on the other side. I know several years ago when the Catholic Church, the priesthood was going through a massive pedophile issue. All ministers were getting swept under we're all the exact same. And I'm like, whoa, hold up here. No, I condemn this strongly.
Yeah, but you have to get out there and say that, and you're right. And your message may not be picked up.
Heard.
That's true.
Yeah, that's not the story. So people just don't trust the church anymore. And I'm like, wait, not the church. Or you can do the same thing with police.
Let me put another lens on this as well. In college, I knew a guy from Nepal. His name was Gaurav, and he was Nepalese, and he was Hindu. And we had many conversations about Christianity and Hindu. He loved talking Hindu with me and a friend of mine because we were very open-minded. We didn't automatically
curious.
Yeah, we were very curious. And he told me, I'll never forget this. He said, you know, they teach Christianity in their primary schools over there. They have a class on Christianity and whatnot that they teach. And he said, it wasn't until I came over here to America, until I was in the States, until I realized that you're not all Catholics. Because in my eyes, in their eyes, they see Christian, they think we are all Catholics, and whatever Catholics do, that's what we do. He said, it wasn't until I got here that I realized that that's not right. So that's another lens to look at it. When these people are looking from other countries or outside looking in, they're not saying, well, they're Baptists or they're Church of Christ or they're Methodist. They're saying those are Catholics.
The reality is that people on average only know what they have been exposed to. Right.
Told.
Right.
So if your guy's only ever been exposed to like Catholics, then he may think all Christians are Catholics. And if you've only ever been exposed to like a violent Muslim, well, then you may think that's what Muslims are, or that's what you may think Arabs are. But we have to resist the impulse to react to what we experience and interpret that as
Catholics.
No, I'm not saying.
I want to make sure that's clear.
I know Catholics.
I've only ever met one priest that was
friends,
evil. Only ever met one priest that was evil, and I got some very strong opinions about what that man can do if he isn't already doing it in the afterlife. But those are for
we forget. We've been painted a picture that the devil is red with horns and a tail, and he's very ugly. We forget he was the most beautiful. We forget that he was the most beautiful.
Which leads me to a really fun conversation if y'all want to have it about. So does all this mean the world's about to end?
Oh, we're going to get there. We got other news to get to first. You can't have fun.
No
fun yet. No fun yet.
Do-Good's right. Yeah, Do-Good's right. And he's across the pond as well.
And there are, he says same goes for all Muslims, not part of the same denomination. I don't know what the right term is in terms of Islam, but there's definitely very major and conflicting sects of Islam. And okay, so let's move on. So today is Friday the 13th, the day of jihad, and you're thinking please just let this pass and no actual violence happen. And before we even were awake today, a man yells Allah Akbar before stabbing a teacher to death and wounding two in a French city of Arras. So here we have already the first probably violent response to the call for jihad. It's not the only one either. There was also an attack in China outside of the Israeli embassy. So Hamas has declared Friday to be Global Day of Rage, and at least one person has been killed, two others injured. So that sucks. And let me just say, I'm calling for a day of not rage. I'm calling for a day of don't do that. Don't do that. Stop doing that. It's retarded. It's not going to get you what you want. It's just going to get your buildings flattened and people dead. Stop doing that. All right. Hey, you guys, are you guys familiar with your representatives? Like your own representatives in Congress? My representative is Dan Crenshaw. Oh man. And you've probably never experienced a leader like this. Here's Dan Crenshaw attempting to be interviewed by, I guess, a citizen journalist or perhaps a journalist on the steps of the Capitol. This is only 7 seconds, so why don't you guys check this out? Dude.
Oh, assault! I just witnessed it. You got that on camera?
Tried to trip this guy.
Oh, assault! I just witnessed.
Yeah.
I don't think he tried to trip him. I think he was just walking.
You don't? Watch this. Watch.
No, he sticks that leg out.
Watch how far that leg goes. Do. Normal stride. Extra far. Had to look down because I've only got one eye. I got to make sure I put my foot in the right place. And trip the guy.
I lose my balance all the time.
Right.
Dan.
That's all I'm saying. I lose my balance all the time. Ashley's like, "What's
Perception's
wrong
off,
with you?"
So it's possible.
Yeah, it's possible. You get older.
And Crenshaw taunted the guy before he tried to do that. Yeah.
Did he taunt him with a?
You're not doing a good job walking backward. You're gonna fall. That's what he said to the guy right before he did that.
I would not take him seriously unless he was talking to me with a cutlass sword pointed at me.
He needs a hook hand.
I'm still wondering if he's going to run for president.
Fuck this dude. I will vote for a Democrat before I vote for Crenshaw again. How about that?
There would be people that would vote for him just because he looks like a pirate. They're like, we need a pirate president. Why not?
Asshole. Okay, let's see.
Comment.
We got two more political stories. Okay, so we'll do this. I'll just mention this. There's no need to show this. We've talked about it a couple times. Democratic Senator Bob Menendez from New Jersey, the guy that was investigated and indicted for basically bribery. They found like thousands and thousands of dollars stuffed into his jersey pockets and gold bars in his house. Senator Bob Menendez has been charged with conspiracy to act as a foreign agent on behalf of the Egyptian government. A sitting United States senator on the Foreign Policy Council has been charged with conspiracy to act as a foreign agent. Him and his wife were also charged with conspiracy. Let's see. She was also charged, according to a superseding indictment filed Thursday in the U.S. District Court of New York. The latest indictment follows the not guilty pleas that Bob and Nadine Menendez entered last month to charges that included bribery and exportation. Okay. Hannah pled not guilty last month, as did two other businessmen. Under the Foreign Agents Registration Act, foreign government actors need to register with the U.S. Justice Department. Public officials, including members of Congress, are prohibited under U.S. law from acting as a foreign agent in a manner that would require them to register under one act. Menendez did not register under FARA, nor did his wife Hannah. And this FARA stuff is the same thing that Hunter Biden is. Hunter Biden and possibly Joe Biden are in danger of having breached. All right. So that's that. Now I got 1 minute and 18 seconds of Donald Trump on this war stuff, and then we'll be done with politics, I think. I know you guys want to hear this. This aired apparently on PBS NewsHour. I just want to get your reactions.
There can be no coexistence with this violence. There can be no tolerating it, no accepting it, no excusing it, and no ignoring it. Every time a terrorist murders an innocent person and falsely invokes the name of God, it should be an insult to every person of faith. Terrorists do not worship God. They worship death. If we do not act against this organized terror, then we know what will happen and what will be the end result. Terrorism's devastation of life will continue to spread. Peaceful societies will become engulfed by violence, and the futures of many generations will be sadly squandered. If we do not stand in uniform condemnation of this killing, then not only will we be judged by our people, not only will we be judged by history, but we will be judged by God.
Okay, so I don't know when he gave that speech. I think it was probably when he was president, but the message still resounds, and that might have been after the Khashoggi killing. It might have been. I don't know. I just don't know when it was. What do you guys think about what Trump said right there? And do you have any reactions at all at whatsoever? No? Okay. The only thing
I was going to let this go first because there's a train going by.
I'm thinking what he has said is good and important. I hate that it's being politicized and used right now out of context. It doesn't mean it won't fit the current narrative.
I mean, but true things are true, no matter what the what the contexts are. So I mean, like the context that he gave that statement in may not be the same context as we're in right now, but he was speaking to, it looks like, the leadership of Saudi Arabia. So I think this was after.
That's what come to mind for me was that my ADD took over, and the first thing that I was paying attention to, and I was like, "This is the sweetest room I've ever seen in my life.
Oh yeah,
look how
nice."
I was distracted by the music.
I was looking at the desks and the chairs, and my ADD. So
I was also like, wow, Donald Trump gets a soundtrack when he's talking. It's like Independence Day or something. It's amazing.
Somebody wrote that.
That was a really good speech, and it does still ring very true to things that are happening right now, but so do a lot of things and a lot of speeches that people have made throughout history. I just played a song that was guy requested it. I just played it from Hank Williams Jr. It's called USA Today that he recorded in 1990. That is just as prevalent today as it was back then, probably more today than it was back when he recorded it. So yeah, it's still prevalent and it still means, and it's nice that they bring that. But I see where Sinister is coming from as well.
One thing I would caution is this: they don't worship God; they worship death. That might be true from my perspective, but I don't know if that's true from the terrorist perspective.
No, it's not from their perspective.
And so I would be very.
Yeah, but these terrorists are like brainwashed, especially the ones in Hamas, coming out of Hamas right now.
They would say the same about us.
They're okay, sure. I mean, everybody's brainwashed, right? Everybody receives propaganda.
Biases.
We all receive propaganda, but we
all have biases.
Your kids, your family here in America, you get strong negative propaganda, and you get countervailing messages, and you have the freedom to don't just listen to that, also listen to this, and you can have countervailing messages. The kids first of all, especially Gaza. The kids in Gaza, those kids are victims. Some of the young men doing this awful, awful, heinous stuff lived their whole lives being those victims, only received messages from one side, got no countervailing messages. They were programmed to do this.
Yes.
And they are guilty and they are victims, all right, of their own social construction. So with that being said, I mean, I think I just want to say this: if this was following the Khashoggi attack, maybe it was. I don't know when it was. That's Donald Trump standing in what appears to be like the kingdom, Saudi Arabia. He's on their ground, telling them not to support evil. Right? Where's our president right now? Where is he? Where Where is he and where is he saying? And what message is he sending out to the world? So I don't know. That's just kind of what I had to say about that. Is like we have a vacuum of leadership right now, a real vacuum of leadership. But for $29.99, you can get out of Israel. It's not so funny. It's not so funny. You guys want to? Okay, Dave. I'm going to open the door to you to tell us about the end of the world.
So I will try to run through this as quick as possible. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. I haven't gotten a message about
Dave,
is this the end of the world?
Dave and I were talking yesterday about like the second coming of God and second coming of Christ and like the rapture and all of that stuff. We were talking about it privately. So I don't know what you believe, Deke. I have no idea what you think or believe.
I actually believe a little differently, but I have talked to religious leaders that believe the same way that I do about the rapture and stuff like that. Revelations and.
So
I believe very differently than most people. I don't like to talk about my beliefs to everyone because I have been judged my entire life. I've only ran across a small handful of people that do not immediately judge me for what I believe in. And so I just don't like to talk about what I believe in. I'm starving spiritually in my life. I've said that for decades.
I don't want to pry anything out of you. I do want to say, and Dave can talk about this a lot more. There's people, especially Christians, believe a lot of different things about what's going to happen. There is no uniform consensus in terms of like what is expected to happen. There are many messages in the Bible that are regarded as prophetic regarding our future. Not their future when it was written, but our future right now, prophetic from this point. Some of that may have passed, some of it may not. I think Dave maybe can tell us a little bit about the different things that people believe, maybe categorically.
Yeah. So there are four main categorical beliefs in the Christians. There are others, but there are four main ones on how the whole world is going to end. The millennial views, and they're all based on 6 verses, Revelation 20, 1 through 6. That's it. That's all you get on the millennium. It talks about the millennial reign of Christ. And what this breaks down to is there's 2 pre-millennial views that both say that Jesus Christ will return before pre-millennial, 1,000 years. The first one is the most popular. It sells lots of books. It sells lots of movies. It's dispensational premillennialism. I hate it. JJ hates it as well. It is from about 1870, 1860. So it's a very new view. And it basically cherry picks a lot of different verses from scripture and tries to force them through. You get things like, okay, there's going to be a secret rapture where all the Christians are going to disappear. That's a secret? No, what? If people see a bunch of people disappear from Earth, they're going to start to figure out what's going on. But at any rate, so there's
you might recognize this as like the Left Behind series.
Yes,
like if you ever read or watched any of that, the Left Behind series. This is like Jesus comes back, steals the Christians, and then the rest of y'all got to deal with problems.
I think it was promoted by the Schofield Bible, Dallas Theological, Moody Bible Institute. Those are the main things, and it is really popular among Baptist beliefs, and it is the most prevalent view today. I don't like the view. I don't see it as good. The next one is.
Do you guys hear that?
It's my phone going off. It's the bat phone. Ignore it.
Okay. So there's Jesus comes back before.
Yes.
And steals Christians. Okay, that's one. We gotta.
Then there's 7 years of tribulation. 7 years of tribulation. Then Jesus comes back and gets everybody else who
the second coming.
The second coming, or the return of Christ. And then there's the 1,000-year reign, and then there's a big war, and then eternity starts. All right. So then you have traditional premillennialism, which I kind of like this one a lot. I'm really, really I flip back and forth between this and the next one I'll talk about it, but historic premillennialism. Jesus Christ is going to come back before the millennium, and then He reigns for 1,000 years, which is a symbolic term, and that's when eternity starts. Satan is destroyed and everything there. I won't spend a lot of time on that one because that is the oldest and the most traditional view.
So Jesus comes back, and then he's like
then the millennium
president of
starts.
Earth for 1,000 years, and then after that we get like
He's of all King of Kings,
Okay.
Lord of Lords. Okay, then you
but it's a real physical reality governing of the Earth. Okay, that's what I mean.
And heaven. Then you have millennialism.
Deacon has a question.
Which,
You have a question?
yes, go ahead, Deacon.
Well, I think I might want to save this until you get through all four of them.
Yeah,
because
I'm trying to cram them.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you know how I go, and
I do.
I may forget the question, and I'm almost already forgotten the question right now. So
Go
you
ahead.
keep going.
Write it down.
Use
I've
it.
got to pee. I'm like, okay, I'm
Go on,
this
go on.
off.
Amillennialism. This is where I
I've gotta
fall the
listen to you.
most.
Number
Amillennialism.
3.
The millennial view. The millennium it's a symbolic term. Basically, Jesus Christ died, rose again, went to heaven. There's a 1,000-year period, and then Christ is going to return. That 1,000 years is symbolic, and that's how that's where I fall most in line with this. Is this millennial view? It's not a definite 1,000 years. It's symbolic. The important thing is that Jesus is coming back, and we just need to be ready.
So this is a super
Post-millennial.
nebulous, unclear. You have no idea what's going on.
Well, that fits a lot of the scriptures, but we can get back to that in a minute, especially Matthew
Okay.
24:7, which says nobody knows the hour of the day. So chill.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Post-millennial. Basically, this view is actually where the Restoration Movement, which I come from, Christian churches, Churches of Christ, it's where they came from, where they started with. So basically, the world's going to get better, and Jesus is going to be preached everywhere. And then the 1,000-year reign starts, and Christ comes back, and everybody's happy. So it's after the 1,000 years before Christ comes back. That one is, there's still some really big scholars who supported this view, but I think this one has some huge flaws.
Like the fact
bring in
that
all the context.
Jesus already left. It's already been more than 1,000 years, and
the world's
we
not
seem
getting
to have
better.
Yeah, it seems like it's not better, really.
Yeah, chaos.
Okay,
But
all right.
so those are the four main views of how it's all going to end, and people are throwing around now. Deke, do you want to ask your question?
Well, what do you? How much stock do you put into, or do you know much about the theory that has came out that we don't live in the correct year that we live in, that it was altered?
Yeah. 700 to 900 don't exist.
Yeah, there's like that.
This is a theory or a fact?
Yes, this is a theory.
It's a
theory. It's a theory
based on some stuff that they found recently. In the past, we'll say 30 years. I don't know it all off the top of my head, but it's a theory that back in the
Dark Ages were
there was
an
an emperor, or there was a king or something that was going to become king like 4 years ahead of when it turned 1,000, like 996 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted his reign to start in the year 1000 or whatnot.
Sure.
So they convinced the Gregorian calendar monks or whatever they changed, and then they started saying, well, let's do this and change this, and they went forward like 200 years.
Mm-hmm.
And this is all based on the theory because we have very little knowledge about a 200 or 300 year span in history, and the architecture does not change at all in that 200 or 300 years. It stays the exact same. So that is the big theory, is that it's really not 2023, it's like 1700 and something for the real year that we use. And not everybody uses our calendar, not the whole world doesn't use our calendar.
I think it's a fun theory.
It's a fun theory.
I like
this.
it.
This is just a little bit from Mother Jones. The conspiracy theory is, as you were saying, the years between 614 and 911 never happened. And there's some.
This is not the theory. The theory that I'm talking about.
1700s. This is your thing. Living in the 1700s. Yeah, 614 to 911 are phantom time.
Mm-hmm.
This is proposed. It was proposed in 1991 by a German historian, Heribert Illig, and some other colleagues. So
this is not the one that I was talking about, though.
Oh, okay.
The one that there was a king or something it was 996. He wanted to be king. He wanted his reign to start in the year 1000. They didn't move it up 4 years. Yeah, they moved it up several hundred years.
Prime suspect is Holy Roman Emperor Otto III. He's commonly thought to have lived around. Yeah. So that's interesting. So you guys should check that out.
Maybe I have the,
all right.
the dates right.
So Dave, we have. Pardon me. Allow me to frame things. So we have these 4 kind of ideas of biblical prophecy and the end of the world. And there's things in the Bible that kind of substantiate and say, hey, there's markers that like the end of the world is coming.
The Ezekiel passages have been thrown around a bunch lately.
Yeah. Oh, and there's a reason why. There's a reason why the Ezekiel passages are being thrown around a lot. And I wanted to show folks. Do you have the? You don't have the verse, do you? Get the little verse about? I think it's Ezekiel 39 or something like that. Do you have that handy?
I have a Bible right next to me.
Okay.
Preacher, and like I'm in my office. Where in Ezekiel 39 are you? Yeah. Where was it?
I'm trying to mute this video.
How about 39:17? I don't know if this is the verse you're looking for or not, but as for you, son of man, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Tell every kind of bird and every wild beast, assemble and come, gather from all around to my slaughter, and I'm going to make you a great slaughter on the mountains of Israel. You will eat flesh and drink blood. You will eat the flesh of warriors, drink the blood of princes of the earth, rams, lambs, goats, bulls, and all the fat. Is this the verses you're talking about here?
Okay, so what that is saying is that basically there's going to be like a big slaughter at the temple, right? Like, and
yes,
we don't have the temple right now. The temple doesn't exist.
Correct.
And in order here's the idea: in order for the temple to exist, the ground has to be consecrated, and they have to slaughter a
red heifer,
perfectly red heifer. And for supposedly 2,000 years, there hasn't even existed a red heifer. But what you see in the video over here is a video posted from the Temple Institute of a red heifer, a blemish-free red heifer that was born in 2018 or so. I'm getting a phone call from my wife. Do you? I don't know if you know anything.
I'll keep talking. All right. And we lost Deke for a minute anyway. Now, one of the things that the Ezekiel passages talk about is this war with Magog, Gog, and Magog. And it's going to be against Israel that has just reassembled. So you have all of this like background of Israel being a nation, not being a nation. They're divided up. Assyria takes the north. Babylon takes the south. The south, of course, is where Jerusalem is. The north, they go to Assyria. They end up assimilating with the Assyrians, and they become what are known as the Samaritans. Some people will say half Jews, really bad verbiage there, but Samaritan. The Babylonians allow the Jews to essentially continue their worship to some degree. I mean, they destroy the temple and cart everything off, which is probably what happened to the Ark of the Covenant, if you really want to know. So Israel gets reassembled back. They rebuild their temple a second time. When this happens, I'm actually touching on this Sunday a little bit in the book of Haggai. I'm preaching through the Old Testaments right now. It just happens to be. At any rate, 70 years later, they rebuild Solomon's temple. It becomes the second temple, which eventually becomes Herod's temple. It takes a couple hundred years to build, and then Herod keeps doing all these additions onto it. And Israel, of course, is destroyed again. Diaspora goes down, where all these Jewish people end up moving out of Jerusalem, going all over the world, and they're no longer really in Jerusalem. I mean, there are some that are going to hang around the area. They want to be reassembled. Fast forward a bit, and different people take over the area. It eventually becomes part of the Ottoman Empire, which the Ottoman Empire fights individuals like Vlad III. Deke, you know who Vlad III is, don't you? We talked about him yesterday, Vlad Dracul.
He is Vlad Dracul is the reigning Halloween decoration yard champion of the world.
Seriously?
Those decorations were Ottoman.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. He had thousands of bodies impaled to scare the Ottomans.
You don't mean Walmart skeletons. You
no.
You're
there are woodcuts of Vlad the Impaler, Wallachian. You know, he's basis of Dracula. I did reports on Vlad the Impaler back in the day.
So
there's
Vlad
a
the
woodcut of
Impaler was
him.
a Christian, and the Ottomans were not. And
Yeah.
they fought each other a lot. Ottomans basically take over the area of Jerusalem, and then the Ottoman Empire falls like in 1911 or something like that, and they start the wheels of turning Jerusalem back over to the Jews.
Hey,
it doesn't quite
stop
happen
barking. I'm doing a show.
as smooth as everybody wants. World War I happens, World War II, Holocaust, 7 million Jews die,
All
the
right.
Nazi Jews.
So
It's all crazy and intense, and there's a regathering.
is there cause for concern that the stuff we're seeing with Hamas in Palestine and this red heifer means that we're at the end of the world?
This is what I was wanting to talk about with him. The whole thing was it was these two groups have been fighting for ever.
There are a couple things that will change my theological stance on how Christ is going to return.
Uh-huh.
If the third temple starts getting built, and we don't know who Magog is from Ezekiel 3. It's an army from the north, which a lot of people will go ahead and assume that that's
Lebanon.
Russia.
Oh,
And that
okay.
makes sense because Magog partners with, in Ezekiel, Persia, which is modern-day Iran. Ain't that special? Now, if you look at...
Hold on, we've been
what's it
hearing
called?
Iran in the news.
Yeah, you have, right? What is the group called? Hold on here. I wrote the group's name down. The Collective Security Treaty Organization, which is the Russian version of NATO. It's all the countries that used to be part of the USSR. And they're all a part of this organization. They have invited one country that was not part of the USSR to be a part of them.
Iran.
And that's Iran, right? And Iran hasn't accepted it, but Iran is the only military group they've invited in.
There's also an economic alliance that we have like we have like NATO or whatever. They have an economic alliance that's called BRICS.
This is their version of NATO.
Brazil, Russia, Iran, China, and several of the they've been in talks with like Saudi Arabia and so there are major actual regional forces that are aligning.
Sure.
And over here in America, we're like on TikTok.
Russia and Iran did not like each other from like the 19th and 20th centuries at all until Soviet Union fell.
Right.
And then they became buddies again. So there are lots of little things that I think, it could be. In the Matthew 24 passage I referenced a second ago, Jesus says there's going to be wars and rumors of wars. There's going to be earthquakes. All these things are going to happen at the end time. But honestly, these things always happen. So
there are always wars.
We just need to be ready. If you followers of Christ, be ready for the return of Christ. And I really think that means we should be telling others about the importance of Christ and forgiveness. And yeah.
I personally have like strong feelings about they call it eschatology for people that are not really Christians. Eschatology is kind of like the thoughts about like what's going to happen. I have strong feelings about what's going to happen. And a long time ago, I determined for myself, I have no idea, and nobody else does either. Yeah. And I'm not going to let that be my like drive every day. So even though we're looking at stuff that's like real bad, I'm not going to. I think there's people out there that are tempted maybe by, watching too much news and stuff.
There are going to be people writing books just to make money,
convincing themselves, and then trying to sell books because they think that they're doing something good, but they've convinced themselves of something happening. And I figured out the day that Jesus is going to come back. And the thing is, these people are always sincere. Almost always sincere. They really believe it, but
So here's my really quick, bring it all down.
Yeah.
Is the world going to end? Yes.
I mean,
yes, the world is going to end.
I just don't know when.
Sure is.
Jesus is very clear that none of us know when. So
yeah, we don't know.
We don't know that. Get right with God today, and if you have questions about that, reach out to me.
It's definitely something that you should think about not in terms of what everybody else in the world ought to do, but really maybe in terms of like how you should like square up your bank account with Jesus or God, whoever you're going to talk to.
Bank account squared. You just got to accept what he's got for you. It's free.
Yeah. You know, you need to read terms
if you have
and
any
conditions.
questions about aliens and lizard people living on the moon and underneath the earth, you can message me.
Oh, dude, I'm up for those conversations too, Deke. I'm not opposed to that.
JJ, I think JJ, the reason he's getting uncomfortable every time I mention lizard people living beneath the earth is because you are a lizard person, JJ. I just figured it out.
I'm not a lizard person, but we've all seen.
That's what a lizard
Mark
person would
Zuckerberg
say.
That's what a lizard person would say. That's exactly what a lizard person would say.
Ribbit. All right. Hey, listen, guys, folks, thanks for watching this far into the show. We need to do jokes because today's my daughter's 5th birthday.
Yes, and if you've watched this far into the show and you watch on Fridays and you like all three of us, I am working on it's kind of a dungeon. I'm going to call it a role playing campaign. It's based on Dungeons and Dragons. Kind of, we're going to use some rules or whatnot, but I'm changing it up and I'm working on it. I've been actively thinking about it and going through my process. I have a process, and I've been starting the process on this yesterday. So we're thinking about doing a completely different channel and showing. And if you're interested in watching us.
We need to have a production meeting about that once you have something substantial, not to give me details, but so that how we can run the show. I think we might live stream it on this show, and then I'll take it and maybe like bunch it into episodes and put it on episodes.
Yeah, I don't have to do like once or twice a month. Yeah,
and we need to come up with a name for it or whatever. So, but I don't know. Dave and I don't know what is coming, but I have these ideas, and I'm like,
so many ideas.
Take this idea, and then
I'm
like
keep throwing ideas at me. I'm like, okay. I took some of them. I'm taking some of them. Some of them were good.
Yeah, look, I really don't care if you don't use them.
I think you're gonna like it.
I'm so excited. I'm really excited about this. All right, guys, it's joke time, dad joke time, and then I got to go air up a bounce house, or they're airing up a bounce house right now in my yard. How did the hairdresser win a marathon?
He cut corners.
No, she knew a shortcut.
Oh,
what? Really?
Man, that was terrible, JJ. All right. Did you guys know that I dated a zombie once?
What? A zombie?
Seriously, I dated a zombie once. Yeah, when we broke up, she fell apart.
You liked that? You didn't like my hairdresser joke?
We can't hear anybody clapping.
Oh, really?
Sorry, guys. Why did Dracula need mouthwash? He had bat breath.
He had bat breath.
All right.
There you go.
Hey,
for this kind of quality entertainment, tune in every week. Rumble.com/JJW. Yes, it's worth every penny.